If you want to learn about Coast Guard history, the people in the know work in the Coast Guard Historian's Office. The office maintains a collection of material that complements and sometimes even duplicates what's over at the National Archives. Earlier, we had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Robert Browning, who has worked in the Historian's Office for nearly 2 decades.
The Historian's Office is basically often referred to by many people in the Coast Guard as the Coast Guard's attic. We collect lots of documents, photography, but our office is also involved with all the artifacts in the service, and we run the museum as well in New London. The documents in the office include probably about 1 million images and perhaps a similar number of documents. The material goes back to 1790, at least historically. The actual documents, probably the oldest photography we have in the office is about the 1880s, but we have some manuscripts that go back much further than that. So we have files like cutters and special collections and personnel and lighthouses and things like that. And just for instance, we've had 7 eagles. Well, all the eagles are in the same place, but then they're divided by years that they were in service. And there are a number of cutters that we've had like that we've had more than one. And the cutter files are, I couldn't tell you how many 100 linear feet they are, but this whole row is this whole row, and then the one is beside it as well. But one of the things that we do have that the Navy doesn't have much of is we have a lot of interior shots, such as that. We got connected with the engineering branches, and we were able to collect a lot of the old photos showing offices, berthing spaces, and things like that. And that may kind of sound dull, but when you're thinking of 100 years from now, when they wonder, well, what the living conditions like, these will be gold.
The files are on cutters, stations, disasters, personnel, aircraft, and particular events in Coast Guard history, and lighthouses, an especially popular subject to researchers.
It makes up only about 5% of our collection, but we get probably 25% of our inquiries on lighthouses. That's just how popular that topic is. This is Point Concepcion in California, and as you can see, we have some artwork, but it looks like it was originally signed in 1859. But we have a photo from 1916, photo from 1894, some other artworks, kind of probably from the same period as this other. This is a very, very, very visual topic. Here's one of the early keepers sitting at the base of the lighthouse.
In addition to what's contained in the office in Washington, D.C., the Historian's Office is also responsible for managing the Coast Guard's artifact collection, representing more than 20,000 artifacts and memorials, many on loan to other museums. And as Dr. Browning said, the service's museum is located at the Coast Guard Academy. The museum contains artifacts that span 200 years of Coast Guard history, featuring everything from ship models to carvings to uniforms and paintings. We got the chance to tour the museum and talk with Hallie Brooker, the museum's curator.
I do a very general component of research, which is researching Coast Guard history in general, and then also specifically as it relates to the objects, so we can understand what we have here. Or I can tell, someone offers me something if it has tremendous value for interpreting Coast Guard history. It's kind of the idea of maintaining and collecting the artifacts is to maintain the material culture of the Coast Guard. Yeah.
Like all museums, each individual has their favorites and is inspired by a certain part of history.
But everybody loves this Lighthouse Lens. This is what they call a first order Fresnel lens. It's gigantic. These are kind of nice. This is a U.S. Lighthouse Service uniform and their Book of Regulations. I think that's a little medical chest. So these are kind of interesting because they show the early equipment that they would have had at the different stations and whatnot. I guess my favorite is the Francis Lifeboat. Most people think it's a submarine. I knew about the life-saving service and the ship-to-shore rescue they would do with the breeches buoy and whatnot, but I had never seen the life car. And it would be the same concept. The breeches buoy would ferry a person over, from the wrecked ship to shore individually. The life car would work the same way, but they put several people in here and then seal it up.
Comfortable.
So, not comfortable at all, no.
The museum is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., except for federal holidays. It's also open on select weekend days. The historian's office is open to researchers by appointment.
Generally, the people that just walk into our office most of them have a very specific thing they're looking for, and it's very easy to pull out a file and show them photography or whatever. Probably the most common person that walks in the office is looking for information on a particular ship that he or she served on. They served, they didn't get a picture of the ship, and now all of a sudden they want one. And so we're able to help them. We have a scanner. They can scan photography here and take an image away with them.
Although there are documents and photographs already online at the historian's office website, the office is really just beginning the process of capturing all of its documents electronically.
We have a vision for the history of this office. What we'd like to do is with the new technology, is scan virtually all the pictures that we have in this office, put them online, the documents as well, transfer that material to the National Archives. We will scan that at a high enough resolution where we can use it virtually in any format. But what we'd like to do is to move more into personal collections of the Coast Guard, collect material from officers and enlisted people, and get some of the personal documents that don't show up within the government documents. In other words, you have letters home and some of the personal things that these people produce during their careers. There are a lot of characters in the Coast Guard whose stories need to be told. There may be some people in the Coast Guard that know about these people, but the public as a whole really doesn't know about them because their stories have never been told.
A lot of characters and a lot of stories to tell indeed. For the Coast Guard Channel, I'm Regan Iman.